today's episode, I'm basically going to do a brief introduction about myself, how I came to start surfing myself, and then as well, I'm going to talk about how I got into doing surf lessons. One of the things I want to do is that I want to make an initial 50 lessons that are out of the water. It's all the information I would want to know before I even get to the beach. And this is all going to be just done on my GoPro. I have a bunch of professional equipment, but right now what I want to do, it takes a lot of time to edit those videos. So what I want to do is just knock these first 50 out on my GoPro, get to learn how to do some editing, check things like sound, lighting, my tone. So I want to fix myself, so then I'll end up doing these first 50 again, but then I'll make them a lot better. So these first 50 might be rough, but try to pay more attention to the actual message, what I'm trying to teach you, instead of the quality. And believe me, I'll work on the quality. Every video I'll try to make a little bit better. I just want to do a brief introduction so you can see where I'm coming from, see how I got into surfing. And I got into surfing like most people do, without lessons. And man, it took forever to learn how to do anything because I didn't have anybody help me out. I didn't have anybody give me little tips. And that's what I want to do with you guys, to make it a lot easier so you don't have to spend 5 or 10 years getting to know how to surf. I can teach you stuff that it took me more than 20 years to learn. And so when I was a kid and I was riding my boogie board, I was perfectly happy doing that. But peer pressure was, you know, when you're a kid, could be pretty bad. And if you were a boogie boarder where I used to live, people make fun of you and be like, ah, boogie boarder, whatever, why don't you surf, man? And so, you know, like normal kids, I told my mom, started begging my mom for a surfboard. And I tell you what, I'm really glad that I started taking up surfing. The original reason for taking up was kind of dumb, you know, caving into peer pressure, but then the surfing changed my life. And so I asked my mom, I kept on talking to her about getting me a board, and she contacted one of my cousins, and then my cousin got me a board and gave me a couple surf lessons, and it was a completely changed world after that. So for the next couple years, I was surfing all the time. Nobody was helping me out, and just me and my friends going out and helping each other. But we didn't know things about best design to ride when you're brand new. We didn't know about checking a forecast, checking the tides, looking at currents, knowing how to use rip currents. Oh God, there's so many topics. And so we were just fumbling left and right. But you know what? We were 13, 14, 15 years old. And at 15 years old, you have time to do that stuff. You know, once you get out of college, it's like, we don't have the time to be messing around. So that's why I want to help everybody on these with these lessons, these first 50 lessons, just to get you familiarized with what you're going to be running into, and some of the problems that you're going to be facing. But I want to help you find the solutions to those problems. Once we go over the first 50, then what I'll do is I'll start actually going into getting into the water and doing things. But that first 50, what I want to do is do about 10-minute episodes, and it'll be on a specific topic, like what do you do if you get stuck in a rip current, or learning how to do functional exercises for surfing, things like that. All right, so when I was 19, I actually took off, lived in the Midwest for a while, trying to get on the fire department in a major city in the Midwest, and that was taking forever. And 7 years to be exact. And then so what I did next is I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing in the Midwest. There's no waves here. I'm not in any serious relationships. I just need to get back to the West Coast. So I joined the military, the Coast Guard to be exact, and they sent me right back to my hometown, and they sent me right back to LA. Then it was over 20 years of being in the Coast Guard, and I got to live in places like Puerto Rico, San Diego, and Hawaii. Each one of those were just amazing places and offered me just some tons of memorable surf sessions, and met lifelong friends, and I'm so grateful that I got to live in those places. So within about a 25-year span, there was a gap there where I got out of the military and I went to school to go get my graduate degree. And while I was doing that, I worked for a surf shop. And when I was at that surf shop, I started doing lessons. That was my only job there, was to give lessons. And the guy who did it, he's from OB Surf Shop, he taught me a pretty good method for doing lessons. But with his lessons, like all surf shops, they had us getting in the water and actually pushing people in the waves. And so he had some good fundamentals that I was able to use. But then one day while I was doing a lesson to a kid who was backpacking, I gave him a lesson. Pretty soon I could teach people how to surf. If they were really athletic and motivated, I could teach people how to surf really quickly. So while I was standing knee deep in water watching this guy surf, I was thinking, I'm about to charge this guy 130 bucks for a 3-hour lesson, and as a backpacker, 130 bucks goes a long way for sleeping. I felt like guilty. It seemed like that was way too much money to be charging somebody for something that I was able to teach them really quickly. So right there, I looked up to heaven and I was like, all right, God, if I ever get a good job again, I want to start giving surf lessons for free. And about a year later, I got back into the Coast Guard, and that was it. So I kept my promise, started doing them for free, and started offering lessons on Craigslist. I started doing the lessons on Craigslist, and it was hard to get the message out. I started learning the ups and downs about giving lessons for free. One of the biggest ones is that people, when you offer something for free, tend to not show up without giving you any kind of notice. So that was a bummer. And then I found meetup.com, where they have all those different interest groups. It sounds like a dating group, but it's not. So you could, if you like to go walk dogs, you could have a group that walks dogs. We had a surfing group. There's tons of surfing groups, but ours was specifically free surf lessons. And at first, I had all kinds of people signing up, and I'd get all excited, get all my equipment, head down to the beach. I bought a tent. I would show up, and during the winter, 10 people would sign up, and then nobody would show up. All right, so join me for the next episode, where I'm going to be talking about self-evaluating your physical fitness. In that episode, what I'll be talking about is looking to start surfing or doing any kind of activity, physical fitness activity, looking at starting down the line, say 2 or 3 months from now, 5, even 6 months from now, and what you can do to prepare for that sport, whether it be bike riding, surfing, hiking, whatever it is. One of the things I'm going to be talking about is kind of stretching out our goals. So right now, if your goal is to start surfing, these episodes are going to be going up in the kind of in the late winter, and one of the things you can do is look towards summer instead of trying to start in the winter. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from going out in the winter, but one of the things you can do is really say, okay, by summer, by such and such date, 5 months from now, I want to have worked out 20 times a month doing certain functional activities, so that when I go surfing, then it'll be a lot easier. So I'll be talking about self-evaluating your physical fitness on the next episode. All right.